Hello and welcome. I'm Emerald Mosaic, and I wanted to talk to you today about another card from the this deck of messages from the guides. And the next card that I want to talk to you about is Accept Struggles as Lessons. And this is a challenging one. So think for a minute about something that you have recently struggled with and think about how you handled it. Did you maybe sink into despair and just give up out of the frustration of it? Did you maybe get angry? Did you take it out on others? Just think for a second. How do you typically handle struggles? And this could be anything, big or small. So I'd like to read to you from the book and what it says about this. When you acknowledge your relationship to spirit or source energy or the universe or whatever you want to call it, you will begin to understand your role in the bigger picture. Life on Earth may seem difficult, but once you accept that the hardships that you encounter are merely set before you in order for you to learn and evolve, then your journey here will become much easier. The important thing is to perceive an obstacle as a tool for growth. Choose, keyword choose to look at struggles as things that you have chosen to encounter so that you can learn to overcome them, instead of things done to you to make you miserable. The choice is yours. If life on Earth was not problematic, then it wouldn't be such a compelling adventure for the courageous soul. It's imperative that you search for the meaning behind each struggle so you can comprehend the lesson and what is the best way to proceed. And the way you handle these obstacles prepares you not only for how to handle them in the future, but for what awaits you in the dimension of spirit. The experience you have gathered from encountering struggles factors heavily into the decisions that you and your guides make regarding future incarnations. You are here to learn. Don't pass up the opportunity because it will only be placed before you again. I don't know what you believe about the afterlife. I don't know what you believe about spiritual matters. Regardless of what you believe, this life is an opportunity to learn. It is an opportunity to grow. And I have seen in my own life that if in one season of my life I did not choose to learn a lesson, I will be presented with an opportunity later on to learn it. I've seen this over and over again just within this current lifetime. If that's the only lifetime I have, I don't know. I like to think that it isn't. I like to think that we do have reincarnation, that there are multiple lives. But regardless of what you think about that, you do have a choice whether or not you learn. And I think the key points, you do have a choice. And in order to learn, you have to first perceive the obstacle as a tool or an opportunity for growth. So an example of this is I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have the hypermobile version of it. There are multiple versions. And so one of the ways that this manifests for me is, for example, several weeks ago, I put a shelf together and I strained my shoulder, and this shoulder has been giving me trouble ever since. And it's slowly getting better, but okay, I have chronic pain that I have to manage, that I have to deal with, and all of the psychological challenges of dealing with chronic pain, and also try not to take my pain out on other people. It's not their fault that I'm hurting. And so this is definitely challenging. But one of the things that has helped me to be more conscious of this and to kind of see things as an opportunity for growth is to reframe events. Instead of this is a bad event, I say this is a challenging event. When we label things as good or bad, it kind of, like, that's our own spin on it. I feel bad about this event is true, but an event is neither objectively good or bad. I hear you. I hear you. Hang on. Just stick with me. Events are neither inherently good or bad because good can come out of them. You would think World War II was absolutely terrible. And yes, there were things that happened that traumatized people. There were people who died in those events. I would not wish that on anybody. And it is also true that women's liberation came out of that. It is because of World War II that women have the right to vote. Like, where would we be if that didn't happen? I don't even want to know. So, like, when you think about an event, instead of labeling it as a good or a bad event, think of it as easy or challenging. And just that simple reframing, just that little switch can often help make it a lot easier to find the opportunity for growth. So a few other examples that you might be able to relate to, because not everybody has chronic pain. Say you had an argument with somebody that you really care about. Some potential things that you could learn, maybe admitting that you were wrong, or gracefully not holding it against the other person that they were wrong. Like that alone is challenging sometimes. Learning to manage your own emotions in a conflict, or learning about nonviolent communication, which is something that I am learning and trying to figure out how to implement. It is not easy. It requires a lot of self-reflection. It requires a lot of self-awareness, and it also requires setting aside my ego, and that is challenging. Another example is a difficult task that you initially failed at. So some things that you might need to learn from that are the difference between shame, which is about who you are, and guilt, which is about what you did. So if I make a mistake, or if I just don't succeed at doing something on the first try, then shame says I am a failure, and guilt, or a healthier way of reframing that, is I didn't succeed yet. I will succeed if I keep trying. This is something I can learn. This is something I can improve at. This is a skill I can get better at. Another example that is simply another lesson to learn from that example is persistence. Just being willing to keep trying, or being willing to ask for help, or recognizing that this might be beyond your current capabilities. Like, maybe I would have been better off waiting until I had assistance to put that shelf together, stuff like that. Or maybe I would have been better off doing just a little at a time instead of trying to do the whole thing at once, and then I wouldn't strain my shoulders so much. So I can learn from that, right? Another example is realizing that you don't have all the information that you thought you had. And so this would require learning humility and being willing to say, I don't have all the information. Let me go look that up. Just being willing to admit that you don't know everything. Nobody can know everything, honestly. No one person can know everything. So some ideas, some thoughts of how to accept struggles as lesson. And I will say some struggles are much harder. When my wife passed away, that was a struggle I didn't want to learn from. And it wasn't until, I think, after the first year of grief that I started looking for the lessons and looking for the good. And that's okay. It can take time. But over time, eventually, it's important to start to see these struggles as something that you can learn from, something you can grow through. As I told a former friend of mine, I hope that you grow through whatever you choose to go through. Because admit it, some things that we go through, some of the challenges we face, yeah, I did that. Some of the choices that I made are the direct cause of some of the challenges I face. You got to be willing to face up to what you chose. You know, that is very important as well. So that being said, I hope that today is an easier day for you, especially if you've had challenging days lately. I hope that you have an easier day today, and I hope that you do grow through whatever you go through. See you next time.